The second part that we're going to do when we're building these modifiers is change the game entity interface. And the reason I'm going to do this is so that any entity in our game could feasibly be manipulated by these modifier bricks. So the ball could be, the paddle could be, the bricks could be. The bricks themselves could be changed. So this method that we're going to have is not going to be, it's not going to answer any questions. It's just going to do something. It's going to be called modify. And it's going to take in like a modifier brick so that we can tell, like, is this the brick supposed to do the large paddle thing or the whatever different effect we want it to have on the game. It'll be able to tell whichever class it's affecting what that effect should be. Okay, but because we've changed the game entity interface, the kind of glue that binds our classes together to some degree, whichever classes implement the game entity interface need to also now have a method called modify that takes in a modifier parameter. So we're going to include, I'm going to change the ball class to implements game entity because we want our ball object to also be potentially able to be affected by modifiers. So we hover over this and we see, well, we need to implement the modify method. So we'll just add a modify method. We can do it right at the top here. So void modify, and this takes in a modifier M, and it doesn't need to do anything yet, just needs to exist to make the contract to satisfy the lawyers, basically. Say, okay, you said you implemented game entity, did you? Well, yeah, it's there. Doesn't need to do anything yet, but at least it's there. All right, let's head over to the brick class. Brick now implements game entity, so it also has to have this modify method, and just like update for right now, this modify method is not going to do anything for the time being, but it's going to be there in case we would want to modify a brick object or the bricks with some sort of, I don't know, there's some possible scenario in the future where we would want to be able to change them based on the paddle coming into contact with the modifier. Let's see, and now the paddle class also implements game entity, and so here we need to also implement the modifier method modify, and this takes in a modifier object M, and then doesn't have to do anything yet. So we have in this video added a method to the contract that is our interface, the promise, and we have fulfilled the contract so the lawyers are happy, so that the ball class has a modify method, the brick class has a modify method, and the paddle class has a modify method. None of which do anything yet, but that's going to be part of what we do going forward.